Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. Go ahead, get this channel, subscribe, share, at least some messages and comments. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell. You know what to do. Back on track for another exciting interview right here on Prison Break Raw. I got my boy right here. He's going to tell you all about who he is, where he's coming from, what he's all about, what he is hoping to accomplish with his future goals. He actually has his own YouTube channel. It's called Freedom Lifestyles. We're going to go ahead and we're going to enclose the link in this video. Throughout the video, you're going to see it attached to the screen. You're also going to see a direct shortcut link in the description of this video. I know I wasn't too clear on a couple of prior interviews in the past about that, but we've gone ahead and we fixed all that. You're going to get all the information about this man. This man's going to sell himself to you right now. This is a collab that we've been putting together for a few days now. His channel actually came across my feed, and I took a look at some of what he's doing, and I like what I hear. I like the positive message. I like the strength and hope. He's a spiritual man. He's a gang member. He's walking the walk, and he's actually beating the recidivism trap and the revolving door that so many people have been stuck in for so very long. It is my pleasure to present to you my man right here, coming over from Freedom Lifestyles. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on, JD. My name's Jaime G. My channel's Freedom Lifestyle, The Road to Redemption. And I actually started my channel about 6 months ago. And just was really trying to find out how I can make some money off the internet, you know, like I'm pretty sure a lot of us did. Let's start off this little YouTube thing. So started trying to get connected to see what kind of content I wanted to produce, you know, because I didn't originally start off saying I'm going to start talking about myself or my life or what, you know, what I've been through and who I am and all that. But that's pretty much what it came out to be. And I find myself now, you know what I'm saying, just going over my life story with my channels, or my videos, better yet. And just trying to tell the whole nation who I am, who I was, and where I'm headed. That's pretty much where we stand right now.
Yeah, so you've been out for a little while now, right? You did your bid in the feds, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was in USP Florence, FCI Forest City, the Medium in Arkansas. But I've been through several different facilities like FDC Houston, a whole bunch of GOs and CCAs in Texas. Went to El Reno on Con Air, you know. So, but yeah, I did my time in Florence and Forest City.
So have you done any where are you from? What state are you originally from? You said Texas, right?
I'm from Texas, from down south by Laredo.
Okay.
That's where I'm from. I'm from Laredo. I moved to San Antonio when I was about 14, and was kind of back and forth from Laredo, San Antonio. And yeah, just did a whole lot of time in the juvenile system.
So you ain't never been in
the locked up.
So you never been in the
TDC?
TDC, right?
No, not in TDCJ, but I was in the Texas Youth Commission. Okay. TYC, I got committed when I was 16 years old. And the crime I had on that case was they were trying to hit me with attempted murder on 3 police officers back in that time, but they dropped them down to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You know, and that's why I went to the Youth Commission for 2 years, got out and went to the feds twice, actually.
You're a gang member, right?
No, I'm not affiliated. I used to roam with the Latin Kings. You know, for many years. I got put down when I was 16 with the nation. You know, and I ran with the Latin Kings of Laredo and San Antonio, went to TYC and continued, you know, the lifestyle. Went to the feds, continued the lifestyle. Got connected nationwide with a lot of brothers, you know. And the reason I say that I'm no longer an affiliate, because I'm not in the circle in the politics. You know, I'm not an active member in any chapter or nothing like that. But I still have a lot of love for the Kings. I got a lot of respect for him too. And I'm basically a gang advocate at the moment. I'm representing for them. I'm representing for any gang that's running these streets of America. You know, that's pretty much what I've dedicated my life to, is to reaching them and telling them the good news about the gospel, and showing them that there's another way to live life, you know, that it doesn't have to be a revolving door around in and out of the system, you know. So I just want to put that out there, that I got more love for the Kings now than I ever did when I was an active gang member, you know, way more. I consider myself more of a King today than I ever did in the past, you know. There's no division, no violence, no destructive patterns in my habits, you know. I refrain from all of that nonsense, and the only thing I'm doing is seeking wisdom and knowledge wherever it is available. Where I hear wisdom and knowledge calling, I go run to it. That's how I live my life these days.
That's a beautiful thing. Sorry, I got a little distracted. It seems that the light.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna roll with it, man. I'm just gonna keep on rolling. It's just like I said, I busted my light, man, and now I got to deal with this thing right here. And like I said, it makes me look like Dracula, but it's all good. You know what I mean? I guess it's fitting for the way this show runs. All right, so you were righteously jumped into the Latin Kings, but now you basically consider yourself not so much a Latin King, but you're still like a king at heart. I'm trying to basically touch on this point so that nobody's confused what we're talking about here, because a lot of people, see, they don't understand the gang culture, right? They think either we're in or we're out, and if we're out, we're a dropout, we're all bad, we're, you know, pieces of shit and all. You know what I'm saying? But what a lot of people don't understand, right, is that, you know, a blood in, blood out oath is not something that's permanent all the time. It's something that's like, you know, if you part of an organization in the prison system, yes, you know, it pretty much it's a blood in, blood out. If you part of a prison gang, right? Yep. And there was some things that I actually touched on before, as far as like what's considered to be a disruptive group as opposed to a prison gang. And the feds kind of look at it the same way. You know, the feds look at a prison gang as, you know, like, you know, like Mexican Mafia, Aryan Brotherhood, Black Guerrilla Family, that kind of stuff. But in the feds, and this is one thing that I do know, do the feds look at the Latin Kings, do they look at them as a prison gang or a street gang, kind of like a disruptive group?
They're honestly labeled as a street gang.
Exactly.
That's how, you know, the organization, that's how it's kind of looked at. But there's many aspects to the nation, you know. It can be viewed on several different aspects, you know, because, you know, in some eyes, we're not even considered ourselves gang members, you know. It's an organization, it's a nation, you know, it's a brotherhood.
Right.
But, you know, society in general, that's how they label it, the prison system, you know, the law, however you want to view it, like, you know, the politically correct, they're a street gang. You know.
Exactly. And what a lot of people don't understand about street gangs, especially like where I'm coming from and stuff like that, is there is no real dropping out from a street gang in a lot of cases, man. There's, you know, people move away, people move on, people get older, and usually the streets will always replenish the numbers with fresh bodies of youngsters that are willing to put in that work, willing to do that outlay, you know what I mean, and make it happen. It's like every time when I was growing up, you always see like the older gente that's out there, and they wasn't really doing nothing but getting high, drinking, you know, chilling. But it's like you don't see like a 30-something-year-old, a 40-something-year-old out there gangbanging. It's like that's always like when you a young G. And you know what I mean? And you're a peewee. There's a lot of us call it in our neck of the woods. Yeah, you're putting in that work, but them older cats, man, they're always laying back in the cut. So that's why there's really no real dropping out And so for you, like I said, to say that you were a Latin king, but you're a king in a different Latin king in a different way now. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yep.
so
You said it
describe
right
to us,
perfectly.
right? Describe to us what that really means. Is that like is that a mundane thing? Is that a spiritual thing? Or what does it mean for you to be a Latin king right now?
Well, honestly, the only ones that are really gonna understand what I'm talking about is actual affiliates that are still active or were active of the nation,
Right.
because we have a terminology that's considered, that it's kind of deep, and it's private matter that I'm not really gonna dive in depth with it out of
Yeah.
respect for the brotherhood and the nation. But those brothers know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm on the new king stage, and I'm not ever gonna be a part of a chapter. I'm not gonna spread, start putting homies down on the nation. I basically close the doors. I'm not gonna pick nobody up, but I'm also not gonna, become active in a circle anymore. My calling has become the will of God. I'm only out here to bring peace and unity, awareness. Uh, that's pretty much the only thing I gotta say about, why I'm still considered a king today, even by a lot of the brothers out there nationwide. I'm saying I'm
Right.
still acknowledged as a king.
Right.
They still look at me with that respect, with that love. I left on good standings. There was no dirt on my name, no salty stuff. Yeah, I had my couple of run-ins with the bees, which is the violations and all that. But that's just part of the territory. Anytime you're an active affiliate for years, everybody goes through that. So when I left on good standings from Forest City. That was the last active chap that I was in. I came out to Springfield, Missouri, and I just changed my life over. I got a wife, I got kids now. So the way I'm rocking now is my God first and foremost before anybody and anything. That's what works for me. Whether people believe it or they don't believe it, I respect that too. I just found what works for me, what set me free. And I want to share that with as many people as I can. And then for my family second, my children, my wife, and then the streets is the third, the calling, the cause. Because I feel I have a lot of wisdom and knowledge and experience to bring to the table. And I want to give that away, you know what I mean? I could easily be working somewhere, trying to work my way up a company and make more money. It's the Mexican way. Mexicans always just trying to make more money, get a better job, and just chase that dollar bill, And it's not always illegally. Sometimes it's in working the job, but they're always chasing that money. This has been the financial worst year of my life, but spiritually it's been the richest. I've been set free in ways that, is deep to understand. I've been satisfied. My thirst has been quenched. I used to chase money like everyone else. Before I was even a Latin king, I was a career criminal. I sold drugs, and then I worked my way up to jacking cars, and I was jacking people, jacking pawn shops, houses. Like, I just went up and escalated, started shipping dope, out of town for money, smuggling dope from the checkpoints, so I've had my fair share of jobs as a criminal. And I've also had my fair share of run-ins with the law, and as far as the nation went, when I was running with the brothers, there was a lot of wisdom and knowledge being spit. There was a lot of, brotherhood and love that I was seeing, but it was still okay and looked on as okay being a criminal. Like, that was okay. So I was like, man, all the kings that I was rocking with, we were breaking the law. To me, it was a criminal organization. Even though that the roots and everything that it stands for is not supposed to be that. That's what it was for me,
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, in a nutshell, because you're right. I'm one of the few people that are gonna come out here on YouTube, on social media, and expose game. reveal all kinds of secrets, talk about things that we ain't supposed to be speaking about. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, I know that makes for big ratings and that makes for mass amounts of subscribers and all this other kind of stuff. And it might fill your pockets, but it's actually a very dangerous thing to get into. You know, it's kind of like you're looking for that short term, you know, immediate gratification, as opposed to basically giving people the same content without actually exposing all kinds of deep esoteric secrets to the inner workings of any organization or anything like that. The bottom, what basically what I was trying to get at is what a Latin King means to you now. And I think, you know, basically how I could sum it up, and maybe you can agree with me, is that you are basically a Latin King that's more of a social activist as opposed to an antisocial destroyer of things like you used to be. So now you're in that phase of that social activism. Can that really pretty much sum up what you do?
That pretty much sums it up in a nutshell. I just want to add in there that my vision is pretty deep. You know, I've been spending time in meditation and fasting and prayer. You know, I've been seeking the guidance of the Father, you know, and it's like he's giving me these visions of bringing unity to the streets, to cleaning up the streets. And not just, you know, in cities where the nation is really deep, like Chicago and other cities, you know, but throughout the whole nation. And this peace and unity is not only available for the Latin Kings, it's available for every organization that's running these streets, you know, down to the Sureños, to the Norteños, to the folks, People Nation, you know, even some of the prison gangs. I've heard stories and testimonies of made men from the Mexican mafia that found Christ, you know, and they were shot callers, they were heavy hitters. You know, and the power of God can touch anybody and transform your life. You know, just imagine this vision. Every single street gang surrender to Christ and join the kingdom of God. How powerful would the streets be? How united would we be? You know, we can't do it by ourselves. But if we try to do it by our own self on a label, there's always going to be that power struggle, that division, you know, and it's tainted with sin. That's why we constantly got to surrender to a higher power, to acknowledge that, hey, this is your glory. Like, because if I say I did all that, that gets contaminated with sin, with pride, you know, and that easily will get corrupted. And that's where the division falls into place. And it's been done in the past by several powerhouses, powerful organizations that fought for power, that fought for their rights. We'll throw a couple of names out there just to use examples. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You know, this was a cause that was humongous, and it worked, you know, to an extent. But the people are still enslaved. People are still divided, you know, and it's become so bad that, you know, these organizations can't even get along. That's why every single gang, every single prison gang, street gang, they got, you know, issues amongst each other, and they're always killing each other, fighting over power. It's a power struggle. If you can't even get along with your own brothers, you know what I mean? How are you going to get along with the rival gang? It's impossible. First, you got to clean up your own house. Each gang needs to clean up their own rules, regulations, and policies. If they got an official stamp of, hey, we at war, a declaration of war, then the heads need to come together and say, you know what? 2020 is a new decade. Yeah, the old heads make the war declaration to stay permanent, but you have the power to change things. You know, you, JD, me, you know, the viewers watching this, everybody's got a voice. The moment you decide to live fearlessly and speak your mind from the heart without fear of hatred and all of that, because ever since I started my YouTube channel, you know, I get a lot of love. I get a lot of people, they liking the content, you know, they subscribing, they wanting to get with the movement, but I'm also getting a lot of hatred. You know, some people, you know, they're not liking what I'm preaching for whatever reason, because they got beef with the Latin King, so they got beef with me, not knowing that I got love for everybody out there, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like some people they watching, I don't know who these people are. They can be child molesters that are hating on my stuff. You know, I don't know who you is. You leaving these comments, and I'm not gonna let that get to me or stop me from what I'm doing. You know, I've noticed one thing, that no matter who you are, you're never gonna be able to please the entire general public. You know, there's always gonna be somebody to hate you, regardless of how good your content is, your music, your message. Someone will always dislike it. You know, my everybody.
Believe me,
the numbers
do I
don't lie.
know? Believe
The
me,
numbers don't lie.
Believe me, do I know? Do
I'm
I know,
telling you.
man? Look,
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in this, right? It's just like you could parallel everything that you just said to the current political climate that's in this country right now. And the one thing that I'm known for, and the one thing that people could at least respect, half-ass respect me about, is I don't take a political side, right? You won't get me on here supporting Elizabeth Warren. You won't get me on here supporting Donald Trump, Mickey Mouse, Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, freaking Benny the aluminum can seller down at the corner that wants to run for president. It doesn't matter to me, right? Because my whole view on politics in this country is a lot more realistic than a lot of people have. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a narcissistic, arrogant, prick. I'm saying that because this is how I feel, because it doesn't take a genius to really be kind of seriously for reals woke and see what's going on, man. Everybody's got an agenda, and everybody is driven by optics. Optics, optics, optics. You hear me say it all the time. Optical illusion, optics. And the reason I say this is to open people's eyes to the optics of the optic itself. Everybody runs according to political party or according to religion or according to sexual orientation, what color your skin is, race this, race that, race, all over the place, right? And for me, who's actually lived in a prison for over 2 decades, who's lived in a prison, who's basically been at the bottom, the belly of the beast of society itself, who's experienced all the muck and the gross and the destruction and the chaos and the devastation and the straight abyss of hell that is the justice system or injustice system of any society, right? Because prison is where society fails. Prison is a symbol of the breakdown of society itself. Now, people in society don't ever want to take responsibility for that. They want to push it into personal accountability, the self and all that. In a lot of ways, that's true. But in a lot of ways, it goes hand in hand with a breakdown in society, right? It's just like, people that have a problem with drugs, if there's drugs all over your block, it's going to make it even more difficult for you to quit. So it's not only a question of the person's choice to go out there and get high. It's the mental and it's the whole psychology of it being all up in that person's face and all these other triggers of what's going on in this person's mind from different things in their life that makes wanting to escape into that numbing of drug use more enticing every day. When we look at what's going on in this country, you got a lot of people that have got a lot of agendas that they're pushing. There's all kinds of different agendas, and it's always agenda driven, no matter what, right? Rarely is it about the good of the people. It's always about a personal agenda, because you have the issue of race in this country as if the people that are fighting it, if they change it as if it's just going to go away, magically it's going to be gone. It'll never go away, because racism, greed, corruption, selfishness has been on this planet since day one.
Yep.
It's in it's in everybody's DNA. It's in every race. There's no human being on this planet that bleeds red blood, that walks upright on 2 feet and can dial a cell phone, has the ability to be racist, to be greedy, to be selfish, to cheat, to lie, to steal, to backstab. This is the real world, right? And a lot of people may think that it's negative, but it's really not if you think about it. If I'm teaching you through a realistic approach to using negativity or exposing negativity in a way that helps you to toughen your skin and to deal with it and to cope with it better, then it actually makes you a lot stronger person, because there really is no obstacles in this world that prevents you from achieving success. You prevent you from achieving success by believing this self-fulfilling prophecy that my skin color is going to prevent me, or my sexual orientation, or my gender, or my physical disabilities, or my criminal conviction, or any of those things actually really prevent you from achieving success. They don't. None of those things do. The only thing that does is the optical illusion that tells you that it does.
Yep.
And that's what
you
these
gotta have faith.
Yeah, these agendas push this stuff on all of us, and it kind of like feeds into what we don't really understand, what we're confused about. And that's really where I have a problem with it all. Because when we're in prison, when me and you are sitting in prison side by side, the justice system doesn't see your race as opposed to mine. The justice system sees 2 criminals sitting in a cage. That's all the justice system sees. That's all society sees. So right is to overcome that obstacle is what we're really trying to do.
And it's like I want to touch on that. And it's like society's always going to label, convicted felon, gang member. They're going to want to lock you up and put you away in prison. That's why it's locked up America. The #1 country in the entire world where, the prison population, is just crazy, And I don't know the exact numbers or nothing, but you can do the research for yourself, Have the most incarcerations in the entire world. It's a cash cow, and they locking up all the dads. The kids are left with no guidance. They fall victim to, violence, to drugs, to crime, and then where does that leave them at? Locked away. And then there's a lot of homosexuality now that's becoming some kind of like a trend, if you would. Which I don't understand anything about that, because when I was growing up, it was not a trend, and I'm seeing that it is now. And, what I'm saying? So they're having these issues, where they're converting all of these youths into homosexuals or lesbians, transgenders, and all of that, and so all society's facing all of these problems. And my question is, where are the real men? Where's the movement that's going to bring an end to this nonsense, and bring power back to the people, bring that righteousness back to the streets, where it belongs. That's why I'm trying to dedicate all my videos and my content to bring awareness, when I speak, I want to speak words of life, of unity, of hope, of a brotherhood, of togetherness. That's why I don't want to be, set tripping on nobody, even people I used to have problems with, affiliations. All of that ceases on my behalf, not on the King's behalf. They have to do that on their own. You know what I mean? They have to come to this awareness. But it's like we only got one life to live. I realized, and I had a revelation, that I'm not going to live forever, and it hit me real hard, because I was like, it was more than just something that I always knew. Everybody knows you're not going to live forever. This revelation actually made me see a vision that if I'm not going to live forever, then why on earth am I going to live a mediocre life revolved around making money, trying to buy a house and stuff like that? All of that stuff fades away. So I decided that I was going to live my life with a purpose, with a meaning, and I realized that having people united and together, that's real riches.